Hello everybody and welcome to the virtual WDCPC 2100 round 4 here in Korea. I'm Mark aka Nemesis 187 and with me is Joel, you guys know him as Curb, and we even have Brent, Corrosive Kumquat from 1400 with us. He might chime in here and there. And it's shaping up to be a pretty good race. Looks like there's about a 40% chance of rain, and we'll get underway here shortly. Trackside and look up at the 5 lights, 4 lights actually, as they go out, and off we go. Zephyr gets away cleanly. Looks like Clovis just takes out Monolith. Zephyr gets away.
Seems like there was quite a bit of a pileup.
Followed by J Nemesis and Pseudonym up into 3rd place there. Not used to seeing Zephyr in the Sauber.
Oh, it looks
Another
like
contact there in turn 2. Several cars off.
It's my fault.
Croston recovering on Tate. Overtaking with
Monolith dropping 2 positions down from 2nd down to 4th. On board now with Sanda, just looking behind. Looks like a battle between Clovis or Williams there.
Insane seems to have shot quite a bit behind.
Clovis, another incident there, more contact there with the Williams. Chaos is doing everything he can down in 6th place to defend from the Force India behind him. It looks like the Force India is going up the inside, might try to make a move in turn 1 and just about makes it stick, and a Red Bull around the outside of him runs absolutely wide.
Looks like J Nemesis has also climbed up to 2nd place with Pseudonym just behind him, and Clovis is behind him, I suppose. Is it? No, it's Monolith. Monolith dropping down to 4th from 2nd.
Chaos once again under pressure.
And Chaos was
Carlton, and he disconnected. Pressure was too much for him, but now we have a battle between the 2 Force Indias in 6th and 7th. Carlton will try to hold off his teammate while Clovis tries to make up the position. He lost out. He started up in 3rd place, down in 5th place now.
Looks like Zephyr's dropped down to 2nd. J Nemesis moving up into 1st.
I wonder if that's a strategic move from Zephyr to get DRS and save fuel for later in the race.
That, or they could be trying to do this for the constructors. But Jay going off wide off track. With Zephyr just going back down into the inside.
Sorry, Carlton.
Sounds like there was an incident.
No, looked like there might have been a lag bubble there between Carlton and his teammate.
Oh, the lag.
Looks like Zephyr reclaimed 1st place from Jay. Up
Jay
the DRS straight though. Jay might have a look.
He's gonna have to break himself.
DRS wide open, and Jay pops into 2nd, but Zephyr breaks just a little bit later and keeps that position, but runs wide.
Yeah, it looks like the fight between the Saubers is slowing Zephyr down.
Yeah, Pseudonym's right behind Zephyr now. Up into 3rd, might have a shot coming into this next lap, and Monolith's right behind him as well.
Hello?
Session
looks like we lost Chaos again. The second week in a row he's disconnected with internet issues.
For Christ's sake. Oh my god.
He doesn't sound too
It's
happy.
Singapore all
No,
over
it does
again.
not.
And Hungary all over again. And I had a good start too for a while.
Monolith running wide behind Pseudonym. That'll cost him a little bit of time.
It was quite some close racing.
Really bunching up between second, third, and fourth there.
Seems like that little off may have affected Monolith a little bit. He seems to have dropped back.
It'll be interesting to see if Pseudo gets into DRS range. J Nemesis could potentially lose 2 positions here if Zephyr manages to pass him here.
It does seem that he is in that DRS range, but then Zephyr will be getting away.
Looks like he's in range, but he's a little far back.
Yeah. Here goes Zephyr down beside his teammate.
Taking an inside line. They break just about the same time, and
J Nemesis.
J Nemesis holds on. Very impressive stuff from J Nemesis. As we lose Lord P.
Lord P is now gone. This might be due to some connectivity issues.
2 DNFs here in the first couple of laps. Not a good sign here.
While the rest of the field seems to be spreading out, it's still the top 3 around there are still close to each other.
It does seem that Monolith has dropped back quite a bit. He's gone wide again. Doesn't seem like it's just this day for Korea.
Yeah, Monolith did have to reinstall his game this morning, so I wonder if that affected his settings or any of his setups for this track.
Well, you know,
May
luckily all
have.
the setups are about the same.
So it looks like Zephyr's having another run on J Nemesis here on the start-finish straight. He may want to stay behind him here to get DRS and make the pass here on this long straight. Looks like what he's going to do is J Nemesis
That'll
runs
definitely
wide,
help.
and Zephyr gets the pass without even deploying DRS, and now Pseudonym might have a run.
Zephyr has still gotten DRS.
Well, Jay definitely doesn't have it.
Looks like Zephyr might be going a bit wide. A tad bit.
Ooh. A couple of Saubers running wide there. Now Monolith has found himself right back in the mix, even though he's a little bit further back, and J Nemesis went from first to third in a matter of 3 corners there.
This fight over the race could be hurting Zephyr. Pseudo's pretty close now on the slower tires, so after the next pit stop, could see him making a move.
If he keeps us this pace, he should be able to. He is right now, his fastest lap is 0.4 of a second faster.
Yeah, the big story I think here is Pseudonym's on the prime tires while the 2 Saubers are on the options, and he's keeping the pace. Later on in the race, this may play into the McLaren's hands.
With his driving style, it should be able to work out.
Of course, Pseudonym is currently third in the driver standings, currently sitting at 15 points. Monolith up at 18 in second.
Looking at Zephyr's tires, it does seem that the options are kind of falling off.
Yeah, the options will usually give you about 9 to 10 laps, really start to fall off towards the end here though. As you can just see, Pseudonym with the fresher tires kind of just getting past him here. Although, just ran it wide. Looks like a lot of drivers here are just running that corner really wide. The DRS definitely messes you up, and if you don't brake early, he'll just run right off the track there.
Jay was trying to make a move down the outside, but Sunan just deploys all of his curs to keep him behind.
And of course, getting back to the points, Zephyr in first place with 20, 2 points ahead of Monolith in the Ferrari. So they're very, very close here. Monolith's definitely going to want to make up some space if he has any chance of keeping up with Zephyr in the championship.
Jay Nemesis has gone off the track.
Oh yeah, it looks like Jay Nemesis just flew right off. That'll cost him. And Zephyr's pulling out a gap at least 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds here.
Monolith losing more time, probably trying to avoid the out-of-control Jay Nemesis in front of him.
Oh, and Pseudo loses the back end.
Ooh. Almost led to another incident just then.
Very sloppy driving here in the opening stages from these second, third, and fourth place drivers here. They're just giving each other positions back.
This may be just giving Zephyr what he wants to give him that fresh air that he needs.
Oh, absolutely. Zephyr's clear out of DRS range. There's no real threat at this time. He just has to keep it all on the track, and he'll be okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm pitting next lap.
Zephyr saying he's going to pit, definitely feeling the wear and tear on the option tires. As Monolith gets by Jay Nemesis up into second place.
Speaking about pitting, it seems that his teammate will be doing the next following lap.
But Jay manages to hold on for Monolith, so holding on to second right now, Sauber 1-2, and Monolith runs wide, was about to run into the back of Jay Nemesis and had to get out of the way. And that lets Pseudo back through. The retirement from Lord P, though, is going to hurt him in the championship running. He's only a point behind Pseudonym. And the DNF will definitely not look good on the standings.
Monolith almost going wide. Oh, take that back. He ends up going wide at the following turn. Looks like Zephyr's just leaving everyone behind now. And he into the pits?
Yeah, Zephyr really found his pace there towards the end of that first stint. He's likely going onto the prime tire here for the second longer stint.
And he will.
But he may run into some traffic as some of the drivers on the prime tires are still out there.
We have Clovis coming up behind Zephyr. Clovis tires do seem to be quite shot.
Ooh, a little bit of contact between Monolith and Pseudonym. Just gave him a little bump around the turn 2 corner there.
Sorry about that.
Apologizes like the polite German he is.
Speaking about tires, Monolith's tires do seem to be in a bit better condition compared to everyone else's at the moment.
Yeah, he's really managing the options well here. Considering he's 8 laps in, they should definitely start to be falling off, and I'd say he's probably going to pit here probably lap 9 or 10.
Oh, looks like there was some
A little
major
bit more contact. Pushes him off. Ooh.
Sorry.
And Pseudonym loses his front wing. That's going to throw off his strategy.
Monolith seems to slow down to try and let him pass, but at this point, there's not much he can do with a broken wing.
More contact coming up.
And Jay Nemesis uses the little contact to get back up into second place.
Still not sure what
Or, I'm
Monolith's
sorry,
plan is
Zephyr,
here.
that is.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Pseudonym.
Just unnecessarily. I'm sure he has a penalty. It's gonna unnecessarily slow him down now.
And yeah, that really, really helped Zephyr. I think right now he doesn't really have anyone standing in his way. Of course, the weather could change that. We do have that
You
40%
were just
chance of
so
rain.
slow through the whole passage, I just didn't know where to
Yeah,
go
at this
anymore,
point,
so
the
still
gap
sorry.
between Zephyr and second is, I don't think it's going to be closed for a while at this
A
point.
lot of cars in the pits here too now. As Carlton goes in as well. I think a lot of drivers went onto the options first expecting early rain. We saw a lot of drivers in 1400 actually going on primes first, which is
J-Nims is going
good
wide,
strategy.
breaking himself. Sanda is up to third, but he has yet to pit.
Yeah, it looks like a good battle here between Sanda and J-Nemesis.
Sanda
Ooh,
losing it quite a little
Sanda,
bit.
yeah, just had to do some correction there. That's going to cost him some time.
It does seem the options are affecting him quite some bit, as we were on lap 9.
Oh yeah, just looking at his tires, you can definitely see the wear and tear there. And his teammate Insane is catching him pretty quickly.
Who has seemed to have started on the primes.
Yeah, so he's going to be able to stay out just a little bit longer. Just looking at the racing line between the two Red Bulls, you can see Insane has way more grip. He can just really throw the car into the corners. Be interesting to see if Sanda pits here.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. And he does.
And yeah, he's going straight into the pits. Some good action here at 5th place, as looks like Monolith and Clovis and Pseudonym are in a little battle. Going up the start-finish straight.
Oh,
You know,
looks like
Clovis goes
something
wide.
Clovis goes wide, and Pseudonym and I think Monolith are both going to get DRS, leaving him behind.
And it does seem so. They both have DRS open going down the straight.
Yeah, tough times for Clovis. You don't want to do that, to give up the place without even fighting for it. Pseudonym making a little move on Monolith, who runs wide, and Clovis comes back through. Tough afternoon for Monolith as well.
Does seem so. Nemesis, you raced this track. How many pit stops were included in this track?
Well, we did a 2-stop strategy this morning, but it wasn't a rainy race. It was a completely dry race, and most of the drivers opted to go prime option, which gave us a lot more pace towards the end of the race. Corrosive, of course, winning his 4th straight. That's the longest streak now in our league. And he's 6 points ahead of me in the championship, so should be a good run towards the final 5 races.
Very well. Looking at the weather right now, it does seem to be clouding over a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it'll be raining anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the engineers are warning the drivers at all about incoming rain. We don't have the same data as they do.
No, we do not.
But this game has been seen to just give you rain after maybe 2 or 3 laps of just sun.
I'm seeing a few drops watching Carlton right now, actually.
Oh, you know, I see some on the DRS straight, the 2nd straight there. Or the 1st straight, rather. So it looks like the rain might come into play here. But it is still fairly light, and the sun is out, which is kind of odd.
Well, you know, in Codemasters games, you don't need clouds for rain.
Yeah, you get that elusive sunny rain. So far, it doesn't look like the rain's affecting the drivers too much. But if it starts coming down a little heavier, you can definitely expect some spins and some lockups.
We're only 11
Maybe a
laps
few
in.
broken wings.
And Insane, who went out on the primes, does seem to be having quite a bit of trouble.
I see rain.
Not too much, but you can see that his tires are quite worn.
Indeed. You've got a pretty big gap. Don't do anything stupid.
Clove is still holding on to that 5th place, even though Monolith is charging at him with everything he has. I think Monolith should have an easier time of this. He's on the option tire, so he should be at least a quarter to a half a second faster, but looks like Monolith's going into the pits. I think he thinks it's intermediate time.
Could work
Should
out
be
for him if it
interesting to
starts
see what he does.
keeps to rain here, but could also be a mistake if he calls it too early.
At this point, there's no way to tell. Zephyr, on the other hand, does seem to have quite a bit of a gap at this point, and it doesn't seem to be closing.
So I'm going to take a look at Monolith here, see how the intermediate so far doesn't look very good. He's having some difficulty coming out of the pits. He might have just pulled the trigger on the intermediates too early.
He's on the intermediates?
He went straight onto them.
This is going to be quite the problem, as he's got on quite early, and as it's still dry, it's going to wear them out quite a bit before it even starts to rain.
And he completely missed the corner there, and he's off the track. Terrible afternoon for Monolith. He's just not managing to keep the pace here.
Yeah, but it looks like, based on the grip I'm seeing on Zephyr's car, it definitely looks like it's still dry tire weather. Not quite ready for the wets yet.
Monolith has to use the escape road just to get back onto the track. Yeah, he comments that inters were not a good choice.
Every time you didn't put inters on, it's not even wet yet.
Now what do you guys think? Do you think in a situation like this you go back into the pit lanes and go onto options or primes, or do you just tough it out and hope that it rains more?
At this point, I would have to tough it out, as I
Well,
don't
my
know,
race
it's just too
wasn't
early.
particularly going good, so
Yeah, I don't know.
It does look like the rain is picking up a little bit.
It's picking up, but the damage
I'd say
has
at
been
this
done
point you already kind of ruined your chances. So at this point you just kind of gotta stick with it, not make it worse by taking another pit stop.
Even then, he's been on the tires and pretty much hitting the rev limiter, spinning his tires on the track, wearing away at the tires.
That's true. It'd be nice if we had some data on how hot his tires are getting out there.
Thermal camera, F1 2014.
Do it. We're looking at you,
Zephyr is just way out in front here. He's kind of pulling away, not really having any trouble on the prime tires. Maybe taking the corners a little bit more carefully, but I don't think he's going into the pits. No, he's staying out another lap at least.
His pace has slowed a little bit, but it's definitely not slow enough to get on the wets yet.
I just
It
did a
does seem
42.1
his
on the time,
laps
so
are 3
it's still
seconds
dry.
faster than everyone else's, so he looks like he has found some pace while we were under the dry weather.
Yeah, huge gaps between Zephyr, J-Nemesis, and Pseudonym now.
And it's only just gonna get
Clovis
bigger.
is just kind of hanging around 4th place, right behind Pseudonym.
Mind
I
you,
think
you
if
just told me
the
I have
conditions
to
continue to
switch to
change, we
dry
could see a
tires.
battle between those two. Oh, his Insane slides a little bit there on the 3rd sector. Might be just about time for those inters.
It's looking pretty wet now.
It seems like someone was
It
off
hasn't even started to
on
slide
the
yet.
second hairpin. Can't really see who it was, but it did look to seem like another Ferrari, which may be Monolith.
Yeah, but I think it will next lap.
We only have one Ferrari on track, do we not?
The spray on the tyres is literally only just started.
Yeah, Skone is currently in Germany, so we don't have him today.
Alright. Getting drunk, of course. And it does seem to have been Monolith then. That was, what, his second time going off?
Oh,
then?
contact between Carlton and the Red Bull there.
They both seem to be, yeah. Everybody seems to be sliding around that hairpin too.
Yeah, I think the tires just about went off the water cliff, so to speak.
Does seem like Zephyr's getting quite ballsy, taking these corners at the same speed as all he has, and he is diving into the pits as well.
Should be interesting to see if he goes
Wonder if
on to
this
the
is right.
inters or even the full wets. He might want to take a gamble there.
If it was me, I'd probably take the gamble and go for the full wets, as this weather is always just unpredictable. Intermediates.
Oh, the engineers put on some prime intermediates. They were primes all the way until the time they got onto the car.
Combination of primes and intermediates. Nice.
They just changed color. Those color changing tires. Yeah, I don't think Zephyr really needs to take any gambles here. He's pretty comfortable in the
I think
lead,
that was the right call.
so he can afford to pit again if he needs to, I think.
Although I haven't been in a braking zone
Obviously,
yet.
they have some more information too. If their pit guys are telling them the light rain's going to continue or it might stop a little later, then you obviously don't want to go full wets.
It does seem to be getting heavier out there.
Yeah, nice early
Yeah,
braking.
J Nemesis also on the inters now. And Clove is coming in. Looks like all the drivers are really coming in for those inters now, so
Sand is still
now's
out
the
there.
time for Monolith to really push.
Seems to be the primes.
Carlton ran completely off the track, and the game replaced him onto the track
Sanda
as
is
he was
still
going
out
into the
there.
pit lane.
Santa's in third right now, and he's still out there on the primes right now. And they, nope, he's gone wide.
I was going to say he seemed to brake surprisingly well for that corner until the end there.
Yeah, I was gonna say so too, but he just went off the track, going wide.
Yeah, and I think
Ooh, power
Santa's
slide
regretting not
ends.
pitting at this point.
Nope, definitely not. Not yet, anyway.
Would have been a good gamble if the rain eased up, but unfortunately, that's not the way it went down.
No, it didn't. Does seem like everyone else but Santa is on the intermediates.
A lot of the time in online races where there's speckles all over the camera, it's still into weather, so not yet.
Yeah, really the time to go into the full wets, I think, is when you start to lose some grip on the inters or you start to slide a little bit, then you kind of have to weigh the options. So
I do
I
notice
think the
that.
drivers are still pretty comfortable.
The way the water works in this game too, in the high speed corners, you seem to get some understeer. You start getting understeer, even though it probably should be more oversteer, but that's usually a good sign.
Yeah, it does
Yeah,
seem
and this,
people are getting understeer.
That second sector there with the quick left-handers in the rain, very tricky to go full throttle through those when it's wet.
Someone seems
A
to
lot
have
of
gone
understeer.
off. Oh, Santa, of course, who's still on the primes, probably going into the pits.
Now I've got the speckles on the camera.
Same.
Sanda finally getting into the pits.
I just don't
Lost
know.
a lot of time there.
He was on track with those
Engineer hasn't said
primes for
anything
next
about
2
changing, has
minutes,
it?
and he should have. He's taking the gamble onto the full wets. I really wouldn't think it would be
Monolith's
too
coming
much
up
of a
right
gamble.
behind him, so I think this will end up being a battle between Monolith and Sanda might win out here going onto the full wets if the rain continues.
The rain does seem to have gotten heavier on the track. It does look like there would be some full wets at this point.
I like the strategy. I think he may have done it a lap late though. It would have been better to go on the wets a lap early rather than stay on the dries a lap later.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've stayed out.
Zephyr's all by himself. J Nemesis all by himself. Really no contest for these top 3 drivers. They're just kind of driving by themselves
I
here.
just braked at almost my normal braking zone at the end of the straight and it was fine, so I think it's still into.
Probably check in on Santa, who's jumped onto the full wets. See how he's doing. Clovis is just. He's lost just end plate, it seems. having
Insane
gone
getting a
off.
lot of understeer there in the second sector, and he went off a little
Looks like
bit.
a few other people are pitting onto wets.
It might be
I
pretty
think I
close
might
to
try and
full
mix
wet
that.
weather here.
At this point, it looks like everybody's gonna
I
drive
just
in their
had
own
to play,
race.
so maybe. Don't know whether that was my fault though.
Sanda does seem to be
Yeah.
doing
Back playing
pretty
twice
well in
already.
the full wets at the moment.
He was around the.
Yeah,
the
just
tall
watching
we
street
could
Jay
see
go
some
wide as he
movement
was
here.
Kind of
Looks
suddenly
like he may
went sideways.
need a switch from the inners to wets.
Monolith going
Still down in
wide.
8th place,
Oh,
struggling and
that was quite a hit.
going right into that wall there.
Though it does seem he does not have any damage, surprisingly. These games, I'd say, man. These games.
Since
Okay,
I haven't,
yeah, it's definitely wet weather.
I was gonna say since I
Yeah, I
haven't.
think
used
Zephyr's
gas
gonna
marking,
pit here.
Try it.
Yeah, it does seem that Monolith is having quite a bit of trouble with understeer here.
Yeah, it looks like Zephyr's going into the pits for full wets, so we'll see if anybody else gambles for staying out on the inters or if they all go into the full wets like him. Jay Nemesis is almost a half a lap behind Zephyr, really struggling on the inters.
Oh! He's
Sliding
not
all
able to
over
keep-
the place.
Yeah, should have done it last lap. My car's all over the.
Monolith's
Should be
finally
fine,
getting those
should be
wets
very
on.
good. You just lost 20
So
seconds
let's
in
see
one
if
second.
Sanda managed to win out here, because he's been on the wets for
Yeah,
a while
wets are
longer,
good.
but I think he lost too much time on the primes. Pseudonym up into 3rd place with the full wets as well.
Just seems that the intermediates are undrivable with these conditions.
Yeah, the conditions really change so quickly in this game. I know in our 1400 league race in Singapore, it just went from inters to wets to inters to dries. It was quite the hectic race for us.
We had quite a bit of safety concerns with those before. Only just last year, we actually introduced the rule of having the race Monaco and Singapore in the wet if it comes up as so.
Yeah, the
hey Brent,
Singapore
would you
sling
happen to know?
isn't fun in the wet. Sorry.
I was gonna ask you if you've looked at the settings for F1 2013, if they allow you to customize the weather any more than they do in 2012.
I actually haven't looked at it. No.
Neither have I, but
Yeah,
it does.
it's on my.
What?
Go ahead.
Something I didn't really
That's
think
okay.
about. It
Zephyr?
definitely feels. I haven't actually raced. I haven't actually raced in one that changed from dry to wet either. I need to get in one that does that.
Yeah, it's
The
pretty
weather
bad.
feels better. Like the rain, I feel like feels better, but I haven't checked the like transitions between them.
I overheard somebody saying they got a drive-through penalty.
Was that Zephyr? It did
Yeah,
sound
I
like
heard
he was
Zephyr
talking.
say he got a drive-through, but I don't know if it was him or somebody else, and he was just commenting on it. Just keep a lookout on the
Maybe.
pits, see if someone serves a drive-through here. Could change things up.
I'll keep
This
an eye
track
on
is pretty
Zephyr.
quick to give you a drive-through. You
Whoa, Jay,
turn
what
left out of the pit lane a little early.
That may have been. I
Nothing,
forgot
I
what it
pitted.
was that I was watching, but
Oh, did Pseudo not?
Pseudo pitted onto wets like a lap earlier.
Pseudonym seems to be in second now.
Alright.
Was it Jay that had the?
it may be.
Yeah, it
maybe
probably
him.
was.
It may have
I
been
think he
Jay
had like a
who I was
25-second
watching.
gap or 20-second gap.
Honestly, the car was completely uncontrollable. When you watch my video, you'll see it.
I pitted the same lap as you.
Not sure
Yeah,
if
but you were 20 seconds up
Pseudonym
the road
passed
from
him
me.
up while he was in the pits, or if Jay had a penalty.
Yeah. I just
Pseudonym
went
did
around
go
at, like,
onto the
10,
wets a
15
little bit
seconds
earlier
slower
than most
a dry
drivers,
lap.
so he could have
Nice and steady.
passed him just on the track while Jay Nemesis was pitting.
I may be mistaken, but aren't we running reduced rules now?
No, we are currently running full rules. Well, how would you say it? Realistic. That's what I meant.
That we're okay.
Ah,
Never mind. I was gonna ask how they got a drive-through with reduced rules.
My engineer just said you have
I was
about a minute
confused.
on the car behind. You don't
Yeah, I
need to be
was
going
not
so
informed
fast.
about that. That would
I've
be
never
my
heard that before.
apologies.
Yeah, let's not tell them.
You know, they don't have to know. What they don't know doesn't hurt me. If they do learn, they'll probably kill me.
Ooh, Sanda missing his current corner there. Down in 5th place. Not a bad recovery from Sanda, who was down in 7th after that prime debacle he had earlier.
Zephyr has just gone wide into the hairpin. But I don't even think these type of mistakes would even affect Zephyr, as he has just made the biggest gap.
Yeah, he's pretty comfortable at the moment. I don't think he has to take very many risks. He can just kind of coast to the finish line at this point, especially with Monolith wrecking his race early on.
Oh, Zephyr going off again. Looks like he's just getting way too early on the throttle. Maybe try to get some little bit of drift action going on.
Clovis down in 6th place. Of course, Clovis, this is his 2nd race with our league. Last week in Singapore, rather 2 weeks ago in Singapore, he managed a podium in his first ever race, so that was very impressive.
It does seem that Monolith's gonna lose out on quite a bit of points right now to Zephyr.
Absolutely. He's
We
only
will
2
have-
points back, but I suppose this race win for Zephyr would put him at 30 points for the season, and Monolith would only have 19 if he finishes down in 8th place.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like there's anyone in sight for Monolith to really overtake at this point, with only 9 laps to go.
Yeah, the big hope for Monolith here is if it dries up somehow and he switches onto the dry tires before everyone else, that's probably the best shot he has.
Now in this game though, it's not gonna give it to him. I've never really
Well, there's
been
8 laps to go, and at about 2 minutes per lap, we have some time here.
Possibly could come up. It does seem that the rain is getting lighter. It does look like it's intermediate weather again.
Yeah,
What would you
Pseudonym is
say?
struggling a little bit on the full wets. He just ran wide going into the final corner.
It
He's
does
driving
seem.
pretty gingerly up to the start-finish straight.
Yeah, if you look at Zephyr's camera, you can just see the sun shining over the horizon.
Yeah, it could be clearing up. This could change the race dynamic once again. Also, Zephyr looking to lap a car. Should be interesting to see if anything happens there. Zephyr,
Who
of
would
course,
this
having the
be?
famous incident in Canada, running into Horse Muncher and causing him to quit the league.
Yeah, that was just complete rage quitting there, I would say.
Oh, Zephyr
Oh,
losing his
that was an
end
end plate.
plate there. Yeah, that'll cost him some time in the pits later on if he has to pit again.
Pitting's looking kind of likely now. Looks like everybody's losing it a little bit.
It does add another 2 to 3 seconds in the pits. Seeming as that person ahead, he's
Oh, Zephyr
snapping.
runs wide again.
Starting to make a lot of mistakes now.
Monolith has lost it in the same place Zephyr did, and just lost an end plate.
Yeah, just going through the different drivers, it seems like everyone's really struggling going off
Ooh,
track.
Yeah, Monolith
going
almost-
off again.
almost spotted it. He'd be smart to go into the pits. I mean, he does.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he does. He's one of the
Zephyr
first to go in.
runs wide as well.
So, Corrosive, since you're the one watching Monolith, what tires would you take at this point?
He's got to go to inners. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he went on to the inters there.
I
I'm
think
asking because
it definitely seems still early to go onto any dry tires.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Because if it was me, I'd most likely would have taken that huge gamble and try and make up a lot of time.
Yeah,
But seeming as he's
that's
already
an
been
option,
left.
but it doesn't seem to be drying up quick
Oh,
enough.
Monolith.
It might be
that was
Venezuela.
quick.
Tried to get on the power a little too early there.
Unless all of these
Of
mistakes
course,
are
we
made
all
so
know
far
that,
this
you know,
season,
what the
my
track
fault.
looks like doesn't necessarily show us what we should be using, so.
I think the tire change really
I've gone
wasn't
for
down
it.
to the weather. I think it may have just been
Yeah, I
all
think
down to
I'm
the
going
driver,
to.
because
I locked up like
seems to be driving quite
the
well
two
still.
major braking zones so far.
That's true. Monolith did go onto
I went so wide.
those wets earlies. He may have just worn them out early in his stint when he
Well,
was
three, actually.
still in the dry.
How does it feel?
Looks like I might have to take that back, because Zephyr was reporting that
Yep.
he's had 2 lockups at the major
Yeah.
break points.
I think it was the right choice.
Pseudonym in second, still on the full wets as well.
Zephyr is also in at this point.
We have a little bit of action between the third and fourth place, Sanda and Carlton. Sanda looking to catch Carlton here. Any little mistake could really give him an opening here into third place and a possible podium for Sanda after that disastrous early run with the rain.
Synonym has gone off. Who is still on the full wets?
Although Monolith had a little trouble for a couple corners there, I still think he had probably he probably switched back fenders at the best time.
Thank you.
We must say, this race has seemed to be quite dramatic so far.
Yeah, I'd really like to see more battles between the drivers. There was definitely a lot of contact early on.
Oh, well,
But,
I'll try to give you
the
some of that
strategy is
next
really
time.
coming into play. Oh, as Clovis locks up. He's on the injuries as well.
I'll certainly be trying to give you some of that, Nemesis, as I will be returning onto the track possibly next week, or whenever the
fantastic.
race is.
Yeah, Japan is next week, and then we have India coming up in 2 weeks
Japan?
after that.
I thought it was India next.
Japan. Nope, we have Japan and then India.
No.
I was just looking at the
India, your
track
favorite
list.
track. I
Well, it's
expect
slightly
you to win there.
confusing because the track list in the game has, in last year's season was Suzuka then Korea, but this year it's Korea then Suzuka. So since we're following the real life season, it's backwards.
And I will most definitely try to take the win at India, as it is my favorite track, as you just said. That track is
Yeah, very special track for me as well. India was the first track I drove in WDCPC on, and managed a second place despite a very good race.
Oh, back then when we opened up GP2, I'm guessing.
Yeah, fantastic times. And I think we're going to have a GP2 league here coming up for F1 2013. Just waiting on a few more people to get acquainted with the game.
I might still be actually pondering picking up GP2, as the new game does seem to be quite a bit of fun.
Monolith loses his back end there, third sector.
As some people have noted, actually, and you too, 2013 does have a very extreme amount of grip in the corners, but overall, I think most people still seem to like the feel of it better than the handling in this game. It's definitely more oversteery than the understeery of this game.
We're about to get an overtake here with J Nemesis passing Sanda, maybe?
And Monolith is into the pits. I think Monolith may be going on to full wets again, even though I don't see rain on the track.
I think he might be picking up some dries, if anything.
Oh no, he's going on options. Monolith is onto the options. He thinks it's dry enough to run the dry tires. He's the first one out on them.
Definitely looks like the rain has stopped falling, so it could work out for him here.
Yeah, he's really gonna have to drive carefully though, since the track is still
he's
wet.
Already sliding out. He didn't really turn in that much at all, and he's already sliding four-wheel drift there.
Yeah, and he's gonna get lapped here by Pseudonym, going right off onto the grass. That's not good for your wet tires. Oh no!
Okay,
looks like he just about salvaged his wing, but
it was just way too early, it seems. The track is just simply too wet.
Yeah, he's really fighting the car here.
It's like Sanda's getting
when you're down in 8th place with nothing to lose.
Seems that this race may end up ending with Monolith being lapped 2 times in a row. especially with those dry tires at the moment.
Oh, Monolith almost hits Jay on his way to the spin. Jay had to take a little bit of avoiding action there.
I do believe that Monolith has already been lapped, and Zephyr is just coming up on the first straight.
Now here's something interesting. Sanda's still on the full wet tires, and he's managing to hold on to 4th place. I think he's holding out until the track dries up and then just going straight onto dry tires again.
That might be quite a well thought out plan there.
It's a very bold strategy by Sanda in this race.
Yeah, it might just work out though if he manages to hold on to that. The track
Yeah,
does
he's
seem
definitely running wide and slowing down through corners.
the track. Oh, Carlton just slides off off the track. With the current standings, where are we looking at in points? If they all finish as they are right now.
Well, let's take a look here. Zephyr obviously would go up to 30 points and hold on to his 1st place. Monolith would actually drop down to 3rd place as Pseudonym, who's currently in, is he in 2nd now?
Let me check that for you. Does seem so. J-Nemesis is in
Yeah,
3rd
Pseudonym.
still. Yeah.
Is he still on wet?
Pseudonym would jump up with his highest finish of the season. His previous being Belgium, where he finished 3rd. This would be a 2nd place finish, would put him into 2nd in the points.
Oh.
J Nemesis would also see a nice big boost if he finishes in 3rd.
Jay to,
He's currently
Looks like
down in
Monolith
9th
is
place in
kind
the
of,
standings.
kind of is taking away his way slowly around the outside of the track at this point.
Might have just given up. I really could not blame him as he's just had nothing but a terrible race. Oh, that might be another reason as well. He's still on the dries and not able to keep it on the track still whatsoever. The simplest tap on the gas and he's just already losing the back end.
Well, he's still on the
4 laps
dries
to go.
because
The track
he
looks
finally
like
finished
it's
the lap.
clearing up.
Took him 3.5 minutes to do that lap. That's just not good.
Definitely not. And he's off again.
Sanda's now under pressure by, I think, Carlton there. Down 4th place. Carlton is going for the 4th place there. And he manages to make the move stick around the inside. Sanda's still on the wet tires. He may want to pit onto the options.
Maybe so, but tires do seem to be throwing up quite a bit of water still.
Yeah, it does still look wet, but the rain has definitely stopped.
Definitely.
And I don't think you can go much worse than full wets right now.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know, based on Monolith's lap. Maybe you can.
It might work out better for him because unlike Monolith, who's just been spitting away his tires.
And Sanda stays out another lap on the full wets here. He's down in 5th place. It looks like Carlton managed to hold on to 4th there, and he's pulling away quite quickly on his intermediates.
A quick report on the gap. Pseudonym is just on the 2nd hairpin down the 2nd straight, with Zephyr finishing his next lap.
So almost a lap and 3/4 of a lap there that he's ahead. No other real battles going on. It looks like most people are on the inters, and Monolith is just very, very slow. I wonder if he's going to retire.
Seems to be ducking out of the way.
Oh yeah, he probably has a blue flag, and he knows he can't drive on the track securely.
Well, seeming as there isn't too much going on at the moment, when is our next race?
Next weekend, Japan. Be there.
Yeah.
After that race, we have a week break, and then 2 in a row, and then another week break and then the final 2, both in a row.
I think you guys may have announced this, but I just didn't notice. But Monolith doesn't have a front wing, and he has a puncture.
Oh, I did not see that. He must have hit the wall there somewhere.
Yeah. He's
Well, that would
just...
definitely explain why he's going so slow. I didn't think the track was as slow as he was going.
He's just low down into a crawl at the moment.
With 2 laps to go, Zephyr's just on a flyer, and he is catching Clovis. As Monolith just parked his car off the track again.
It does look like he wants to retire, but if he does, he will be missing out on a lot more points. If anything, it would just do more damage to the points.
Yeah, at this point though, he's finished 90% of the race, so he's gonna get his 1 point since he's down in 8th.
Is it really just 1 point? Because I'm pretty sure... Oh, right, we changed the point system, didn't we?
Yeah, we have the 10-8, 10 for first place, 8-6, 5-4, 3-2-1.
He's not able to do anything whatsoever, is he? He's kind of tired, but he's just not doing anything that he's getting the cart. Oh god, this is just terrible to watch.
It's a bad
I'm on board here with
situation
Zephyr.
because it's like you want to maybe pit and finish, but you stay and hope that it dries out, or do you
Well,
do you go back to
he has to
inners or
pit at
something?
this
It's
point.
just it'll be interesting to see what tires he goes to when he does, and if it works out for him.
Maybe the dries would work, but the track still seem to be quite glossy.
Yeah, the track is really holding its water here. It's surprising because it hasn't rained in maybe 4 or 5 laps now.
I think it stopped raining about like lap 18, was it not? So about 7th, maybe?
Speaking of that, whatever happened with that tsunami or whatever that was, or typhoon that was apparently going to hit Korea?
Oh, you know. That's all I have to
No
say
one
about
knows.
that. No, no one knows.
I guess it
apparently there was a
rerouted
typhoon
itself, or
coming
it's going to come in later.
Yeah,
yeah.
there was possibly going to be a typhoon in Korea tomorrow, the day of the race.
And now what? It's just like disappeared or something?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a single wet race so far in the actual Formula 1 season. We had the wet
Really?
Canada qualifying, but I can't recall a single wet race.
Wasn't Malaysia? What?
I think they may have started on wets in Malaysia.
No,
But
they started on
yeah.
dries, or from what I remember. Then they went on to like wets for a little bit.
Zephyr crosses the line,
That was
decides to take his front wing out in the process. I'm sure the stewards will have fun putting his car back together for testing. Pseudonym's just getting through Sector 2 onto Sector 3, so he was about 3/4 of a lap down.
Oh my god, this is terrible,
Friendly
guys.
reminder not to leave the
So,
session until we get to the lobby.
I think
Really
Monolith
quick.
is
Otherwise, your stats
just
go
going to
off.
reach the 90% mark.
Yeah, just a heads up, Joel. Don't leave the lobby because you're the host, because they're gonna actually take all of the times and put them into a spreadsheet or a chart,
Yeah, go for it.
and they can't do that unless you leave, or if you leave, rather.
Yeah, I got it. But it does seem that Monolith... Oh, god.
Is drifting.
Yeah, he's drifting. But really quick, the race is over, but he's still 3 laps from finishing the race.
Well, at least he has his front wing back.
Yeah, but,
Man,
the track isn't giving him a break. It's still quite wet out there, it seems.
another thing with Monolith, he did just get a new racing wheel and pedals that he's still trying to get used to, so that could be another reason for his poor performance this afternoon.
Maybe the wheel's not set up quite to his liking?
It could be. Yeah, it looks like he's just putting a little bit of pressure on it and it's going full throttle.
Yeah.
Nice tire choice, Monolith.
Yeah, I gave up a long time ago.
Just listening to
But
the
I do applaud him
racers.
for finishing.
Unlucky
At this point, I
Sujay
would have
at
just
one
given
lap
up.
plus,
I
I
don't
think.
know. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
tenacity to just
should
deal
have
with
slightly
all of
faster.
this. I really would
Yeah,
not.
that wing problem at the start.
Well, if he's thinking
Yeah.
about the classification, I think he's barely going to make
Might get a
90%
percent
with
if
this
you
lap. So,
that one lap early there.
Yeah, maybe.
Or if you just didn't make the mistake, it's one of the two.
Ooh! He's getting on the power and just
amazing amount
swinging away.
Was that car?
of distance he covered sliding sideways there.
And he's going to cross the line backwards.
There we go! And that was Korea.
But he gets his 8th place finish as we lose Lord P and Chaos with
Oh, man,
DNF.
he was-
screenshots, and if
3 laps
everyone waits till
down.
the lobby, I'll take screenshots of the stats and make some graphs.
That was quite the race. Quite dramatic in the beginning, having quite a bit of fights. Towards the middle, things started to spread out, and during the wet, really got spread out, but with a lot of drivers just losing in every single turn possible.
Disconnected.
Yeah, great finish for Pseudonym, his highest of the season in 2nd. Same for J Nemesis down in 3rd. He finished 4th highest previously.
That must.
So it looks like all the
that must have
drivers
been the
really
best
improved
race I've
their
ever
previous
had.
bests, except for
That's
Mono, who
amazing.
really struggled throughout the race.
Uh-oh. Frap stopped recording there. I ult that.
Yeah, I got
Oh,
really
God.
lucky.
Why?
The rain came when it did.
Why?
Otherwise, losing my front wing would have
Oh, God,
definitely
why?
compromised me a lot more.
Okay, I might know why it stopped recording. Ow! Fuck, that hurt!
I got taken out in the first corner and in the second corner at the start. And then.
Okay, so it seems that my Frap stopped
know,
recording on lap 23 because it was all recording onto my SSD, which was not
I think it
supposed
was
to happen.
Pseudo all the time.
With my SSD
I hit
now
him
120
in the back
megabytes free.
in the second corner once.
God.
I think it
What
wasn't
have I
too bad.
done?
And then later on again.
Well, I used up a bunch of space for the
Where-
opposite reason because I'm recording in a
where you lost your
I'm
front
recording
wing.
in a lossless.
It
So
just
so
surprised
that
me
hour-long
so
race
much
is
because
200
I hit
gigs.
there was quite a gap between us, and then suddenly you
Oh god, this is
were
on
going so slow
fuck,
through
I
there,
didn't mean to
and
record on my SSD.
I didn't know where to go and
It takes
just
about 3
crashed
minutes
into
for
you.
it all to transfer, it seems.
Then I tried to let you pass and just coasted along, but you just wouldn't
So do I
pass.
stay in the lobby or can I exit now?
Yeah, but by that time I had lost my front wing, and that's
Stay in
basically
for
the second
just a
half
couple
of the,
minutes longer.
Middle sector is all like high-speed corners and stuff, and I just didn't have enough front grip to
But I
turn
think
in
that
and
is
keep up
about
the
all.
speed.
So
anyway,
for
I'm sorry about that.
me, Nemesis
I let you
187,
pass,
Curb, and Corrosive,
in turn 3.
we will see
the
you
last
all
hairpin
in
there.
Yeah, I
Command.
noticed that. I wasn't entirely sure